lately she's now painting herself as the victim. Look at this Loretto tweet from Wednesday, quote, "1. Thanks to everyone for the support. I have so much say about the far-right manufacturers' hate online, and all I can say is, wow, no one deserves this, even if what day something do respectful, which BTW I didn't even." Wow, on two levels. First, that she has the audacity to paint herself as a victim due to her own grotesque comments. And secondly, given that she so frequently violates the rules inherent to grammar, spelling, and syntax, this person is a professional writer? Meanwhile, the media party is going to bat for this ghoul. In a statement issued by the taxpayer-subsidized Maclean's magazine, the periodical states that it does not wish to, quote, feed into the torrent of abuse Ms. Loretto has been subjected to since publishing her tweet, end quote. Well, to quote Loretto herself, wow. Joining me now with more on this nauseating sidebar to the Humboldt tragedy is Ezra Levant. So Ezra, are we now supposed to believe that it is Nora Loretto who is the victim as opposed to the 16 who perished in that horrific accident?
Yeah, and you know, I did my monologue on this earlier this week, and I mean, the first question I was asking myself is, why am I even talking about this crank? I mean, there's 300 million users on Twitter, there's 2 billion people on Facebook, so you're going to find some kooks, some nuts, some people who will do or say anything for attention, and boy, Nora Loretto has never had this much attention in her whole life. So is that a reason to criticize her? And in my mind, no, other than for two things. First of all, she was a star writer for Maclean's, the Globe and Mail, the Walrus, CBC. So she, although you and I find her disgusting and beyond the pale, she was a fixture. She wasn't on staff, but she would get op-eds placed with all these mainstream media outlets. So the first point is, we see her as some gross troll on Twitter, but she's actually in the heart of the mainstream media. So the first thing is, she's not just some nobody. The second thing is how the media has either been silent or a little bit supportive of her. I see a bunch of journalists on Twitter saying, oh, how dare Maclean's try and distance themselves, because Maclean said, oh, she's been subject to abuse, but by the way, she was never on staff here, she was just an op-ed writer.
Right.
And all these journalists are coming to her defense, and that's actually the grosser thing, is that what she said, pointing out they're just white men.
Which was factually wrong.
Yeah, they're Aboriginal kids. There was a young woman who was killed. But even if it was factually true, for her, in the midst of this grief, while the families are burying their dead, and Nora Loretto's white herself. I mean, if she hates herself so much, it's in her own hands. My point is, what she said, the anti-white racism, the anti-male chauvinism, that political correct, postmodernist Marxism, the mainstream media 100% agrees with that, David. They just probably wouldn't have been so gross about it or so blunt just days after this traffic tragedy. They would have been more subtle and more thoughtful in their expression of it, but I don't think a single person in the Globe and Mail, the CBC, the Walrus, or these other left-wing mainstream media fundamentally object to what she said. They just objected to the fact that she did it so rudely.
Hey, that was an excerpt from my show, Rebel Roundup, where we discuss the week's top stories with your favorite rebels. To see my show and more, sign up to become a premium member today.